Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of TCG Talk, back today with another video. And in today's video, like you can see in the title of the video itself, I'm going to be going over what I think is the most underrated, most overrated, but not really in a negative way, just most overrated hero, and then also most underexplored hero in Flesh and Blood, for my opinion. We're just going to talk about it, have some good discussion as a community, get your thoughts on it, whether you agree or disagree is totally fine, and kind of go from there. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. Hopefully enjoy your stay. If you're a long-standing supporter, thank you so much as always. Feel free to check out the Patreon and the Discord down below to find out more ways to support the channel while also having access to a great community. We're well over 400 members now on the Discord. It's really, really awesome, and we'll kind of get right into it. So I want to do this video just for fun. This video isn't meant to be like the definitive, like, I think this is correct. It's more of generate discussion. So you can disagree with literally all three of these choices. It's just kind of a fun thing. I think I've seen a lot of tier lists, including my own, and I think even me are underrating and overrating some heroes aspects. And also there's some heroes that just really aren't explored right now. Flesh and Blood is a very competitive game, and it's a game where a lot of people will play the meta decks or play the perceived meta decks, which is completely fine and it makes sense. But I also think coming from other card games, and specifically card games, like I came from playing like Digimon and My Hero Academia, and in those card games, people will play their pet decks even at big events, and people do that in Flesh and Blood too. But also, I think there's not enough discussion generated even around certain heroes and certain archetypes, even as much as it should be. People are very loyal to their class and to their hero specifically, but I think even at a competitive setting, I think things could be explored a lot better. So I'm going to get into it. Again, I'm going to go over the most underrated, most overrated, and most underexplored hero, in my opinion, in Flesh and Blood right now. So we'll get right into it. I'm going to bring up the first one. So the first one I have here as most underrated is Rhinar. Now, this was hard for me. I was going to pick between Rhinar and Arachne. I think both of these heroes, I'm going to stick with Rhinar. I think Rhinar is very viable. Now, is Rhinar like this? When I say underrated, do I mean it's secretly this S or A tier hero? No, I'm not saying that at all. But I am saying I think a lot of people put Rhinar like at low C tier from like S to D, and like they just kind of count out the hero a little bit. And I actually think the hero, in my opinion, has some really good matchups. Right now, Lexi is winnable. We even saw it in the Calling Taipei. It's definitely a winnable matchup. You can either high roll them, or if you play really methodically and have some cool little tech like that Rhinar did, you can make the matchup even better. It has a really good Dromai matchup. It has a good Bravo matchup. It can, intimidate away some of the key blocks Bravo is trying to do. It does have some issues with aggro. However, the aggro matches are just very difficult, right? They're not an auto loss. It's not like or near auto loss. It's not like on Arachne versus Dromai, right, where you really have to get lucky to win. You can win those aggro matchups. Really good Rhinar players know how to play in Nakatsu, know how to play in the fight. Is it still favored? No, but they still know how to do it by using club or by going just all out berserk and crazy, no pun intended, and really trying to just overwhelm in that matchup. So it's definitely winnable. I think Rhinar is definitely good. I also think, and this is coming from someone who's not entrenched in the class like Savage Lands and everybody else is in the Rhinar channel in the Discord, but I think a lot of Rhinar players like to play like the cheater Rhinar style, the really like, you're either going super high or super low, right? It's very RNG based, but a lot of the top Rhinar players, at least from my opinion, that you've seen have success are playing like the more tank style, the more methodical style, kind of, really value gaming and everything. It's just a lot of people that play this Brute class don't want to play that way, which is completely understandable. The fun part about Brute is rolling dice and going crazy with it. So overall, though, I think Rhinar's in a better spot than people think. I think Rhinar can do really well. I think you just have to really be disciplined when you play the hero. And I think some of the really high-level players, even looking back at the Arsenal Pass interview with Chandler Toe, like hearing how he describes playing the hero, it's very methodical, it's very block heavy, it's very waiting for your power turn, so to speak, and kind of going from there. So that's one thing. I think Rhinar is like the most underrated hero. Again, do I think it's an S or an A tier? No, but I do think it's more viable than people give it credit for. So that's mine. Then we move to overrated hero. Okay, before I get into this, I'm not saying Bravo's bad. So for any Guardian mains in the comments, please don't come at me. I'm not sitting here saying that Bravo is secretly a D tier hero or a C tier hero and people just aren't realizing it. I think Bravo is in a good spot and Bravo is definitely, in my opinion, a high B, low A tier hero. However, I do think a lot of people hold Bravo really high right now, and I think Bravo has so many things to think about when it comes to the meta right now, and a lot of things that he has to prep for, right? In my opinion, I heard Lucas kind of hint at it in our interview in the Arachne deck tech, which you should go check out. It's 2 videos back. He talks about there's decks that ask questions and there's decks that answer questions, right? A deck that asks questions is like Arachne, Katsu, basically saying, how are you going to deal with it? Where Bravo is a deck that answers questions. It tells you how it's going to want to be played, but they don't ask a lot of questions. And I think that sounds a little weird, but I think for Bravo, like, he has to think about Jeremiah, which is a super grindy, hard matchup. He has to think about aggro, right? And even though he does really well in aggro when he's high rolling, it's also similar to Reinhardt. It's very difficult to keep up if he loses tempo. He has to deal with other decks that just give him different looks and different things. And the meta Lexi is also very difficult. He has to really high roll that matchup. I think Bravo is similar, in my opinion, is similar to where Uziri was a couple months back, where Uziri was just like 50-50 in everything, which made it a good deck, but also made it a difficult deck to play and have consistent success with. We saw in the Calling Taipei, Bravo is the 3rd most represented deck, I believe, and overall just kind of struggled. It had one top 8, really good, but is struggling to convert the way it should be, considering how many people are running the hero. So again, I think Bravo is very well in the low A, high B low A, high B tier status. I think it's a very good deck, but I also think it's overrated in the sense of, I think it has to account for more things than people who don't play the class realize. And I think because of that, it's similar to Jeremiah. It's a very difficult deck to pilot. It's a very difficult deck to play efficiently and play into various archetypes and ways of going about it. So again, this is not a disrespect to the hero. Just if I had to pick one that's the most overrated right now, it probably would be Bravo, in my opinion. Then the most underexplored, and this is kind of a cop-out, but I have to do it, is because I truly think it is the most underexplored hero, even though it just came out, is Dash.io. I wanted to bring her up because I think once Lexi leaves the format, I think people are really going to have fun with this hero and be able to think some cool interactions. We're already seeing some cool stuff with the protocol reds, with being able to bring threats back in deck, having crazy high-octane turns, right? When you play this hero initially, you can easily just throw non-boom grenades in there, throw in some Teklo cores and just play boom, boost, aggro all day long. However, there's some cool interactions for this hero to be highly, highly efficient that I've already seen from players way better than me in a short amount of time. And I think post-Worlds, when the meta slows down a little bit, we're waiting for the next set, things of that nature. Who knows how heavy hitters will change this, but I think people are going to be way more willing to explore what can you do with Dash.io. How can you use her action point manipulation to be able to use non-mechanologist cards, right? You can be able to use more cards like consistently, like Toma Fiendal and Snatch. And I even saw on Twitter people were referencing like Seek Horizon, being able to put an item back on deck and give Seek Horizon go again, and then play that item from the top of your deck. Like, yes, some of them are little cute interactions, but I do really want to see, once the meta slows down post-Worlds, people really take Dash.io and be able to make it their own. Yes, it's a new hero, and of course it's underexplored, but really outside of her, the most underexplored hero, in my opinion, it's really hard to say. Really, right now, it's probably, in my opinion, Uziri and Arachne, as some people want me to say it. Obviously, I always say Arachne, so I apologize if that offends you. But Arachne and Uziri, I think there's some cool different ways you can play Assassin with tempo builds, which people already experiment with Uziri. But really, I want to stick to Dash.io. I think she's the most underexplored. I think people are going to have the most fun with her post-Worlds, and I'm just really excited to see what really in-depth and intelligent players do with her overall. So that's my 3. Most underexplored is Dash.io. Most overrated, again, not in a negative way, just how I see it, is Bravo. And then the most underrated, in my opinion, is Reinhardt, with Arachne being in a close second. So I would love to know your thoughts. Again, this isn't supposed to be definitive. This is just to kind of generate discussion in the community and have some fun with it. I know people are very in tune with their classes and their heroes, but I also think we need to, have some fun and explore, how these other heroes that some people would deem not in the meta to be played. Even some people thought that Reinhardt was completely not playable in this meta for the most part and just top 8 at a calling. People thought, Azalea was never going to make it over the top. She just won a calling. We just had Katsu's, which I'm going to have on the channel this week. Be on the lookout for that, who just top 8'd and won Pro Tours and Battle Hardens with Katsu in Brazil. So we're going to have that on the channel as well. So multiple heroes that people don't deem to be an S and A tier are winning events and doing really good, even like the mid-level heroes. So let me know what your thoughts are. I'd love to hear it. I'd love to get your opinions, whether you agree or disagree. Just make sure it's positive as much as you can or constructive. And yeah, we'll talk about it in the comments. So thank you all so much for tuning in. If you like this type of content, please leave a like, comment, or subscribe. If not me, it's totally fine. Go to our Flesh and Blood creator, leave a like, comment, subscribe on their stuff so we can get more people seeing this game. And I'll see y'all next time on TCG Talk. Thank y'all so much.